party. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard to IndianaSportsBeat.com. I'm Jim Coyle with you, as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on track. Hope your week's been off to a good start here. We've made it to Hump Day, man. We're at the halfway point, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Man, I actually went out and attempted to play golf yesterday. I was by myself for 9 holes. Thank gosh I was by myself. It would have been embarrassing. I have to play this weekend with some guys, and I'm like, I gotta go to a brush up. It's gonna be ugly. There's just nothing I can do with this. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. That's just bad. But to the weather, how about this weather? That's what you call Chamber of Commerce weather, man. At least in the Bloomington area, it is no humidity. It's cool at night. It's like being out in the desert at nighttime. It's just been unbelievable nice. It's going to be like that for the foreseeable week. It's crazy. In the middle of July, no less. Heading to August. Wow is all I can say. Wow. Lily King is king of the world. She won the 100-meter breaststroke at the FINA World Championships. She's a world champion again. She beat Yumakova from Russia, her rival from the Olympics, the finger wag, if you remember that. Congrats to Miss Lily. She's been on the show before. Let's try to get her on in between now, or training for the Olympics before she heads out, but we'll look forward to that. Hey, before I forget, Friday, or actually on the show today, Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. We're going to give you a little football preview. We're getting closer, man, closer to kickoff. At least fall camp starts, 9 days? I'm not counting, but fall camp starts August 2nd. IU Football Media Day is the 1st, but we're inside of 10 days. Crazy. But Kevin Brockway is going to join us as well. He's got a new article out on Michael Lewis, our friend of the show. He was with us not too long ago, as a matter of fact, out in greener pastures in sunny Los Angeles. But we'll hear from Michael Lewis today as well. We'll have to do a reboot from his visit with us. How about the Cubs and the Giants, man? Alex Dickerson, Kyle Schwarber. Last night, there was some good action. Let's see. There was a play that Alex Dickerson is on. I wonder if I can find that. I had it. But there's a hit. The ball's hit out to Schwarber out in left field. And Dickerson is on, and he gets waved home. It's a short grab, and Schwarber makes the throw quickly, and it was quick enough to get him at the plate, but it was just off. And I don't know how. I've watched the video a time or two, and wow, it was a play. But Dickerson ends up scoring somehow. He gets in, but it was a pretty cool play to watch. But you got these Hoosiers going at it, man, battling. And Indiana now, as a program, has just reached the 500 home run mark in the major leagues. Schwarber, Dickerson, and Sam Travis, I think, have all provided 500, 501, 502, and 503. I don't know who did in which order, but that was something. And they're keep on flying. So congratulations to those guys. But I'll see if I can find that later in a little bit. But yeah, man, baseball, you got some former Hoosiers killing it. Indiana basketball has now hired a graduate assistant, former player of Archie Miller's at Dayton. Talk about that a little bit more. We're going to hear from Romeo Langford's talking to the peeps in Boston. Hey, if you're a parent looking for a spot for a kid in a basketball academy, the JH1 Skills Academy, they're having tryouts on September 1st. You can find that online. That's Jordan Hull's camp, so you know it's a good one. So check that out. James Blackman signs with Italy's Aquila Trinto. So he'll be playing over in Italy. Eric Gordon, former Hoosier, pulls out of the FIBA World Cup. He's just the latest in a line of players that have done so, including his teammate James Harden, who did that not too long ago, Anthony Davis from the Lakers, as they prefer to focus on the upcoming skirmish and campaign as things are going to tighten up in the NBA. A lot coming up for that. And I look forward to talking to Matt Weaver and Kevin Brockway on the program today. Hey, don't forget, if you're looking for a place to live, especially the Bloomington area, talk to Tucker. Talk to Ryan Chatty. You can catch Ryan at 765-623-9093. He's the man that gets you taken care of. One of our great sponsors that allows us to bring you this content that we're so lucky to be able to do each day. But, take care of those who take care of us. Fellow Hoosier, especially if you're looking for a place in Bloomington or wherever it is. Let Ryan take care of you, man. 765-623-9093. But, yeah, a lot on the program today. Looking forward to talking to those guys later. And then Friday, a little special. Live from the Golf Club at Eagle Point studios. We'll be live from the Golf Club at Eagle Point clubhouse. Going to be joined by Tom Brew. Tom's been on with us before. He's a writer. He's a novelist, former sports reporter for the Indianapolis Star, amongst others. He's got a book out right now, I think, about not Nick Saban, maybe? Yeah, I think Nick Saban. But has written many books, co-wrote some books with Terry Hutchins, our good departed friend, formerly also of the Indianapolis Star. But he's going to sit in with us on Friday. So I look forward to that, talking about his new venture. He is a part – Sports Illustrated is getting into the state-by-state sports reporting. He is, I think, a Sports Illustrated Maven platform. But he is going to be heading up the Indiana Hoosiers segment for Sports Illustrated. So I look forward to talking to Mr. Thomas Bray on Friday. We'll have, of course, Todd Leary with us as always as well. So look forward to that. But, man, how about this weather? Jake, you were having fun last night. What was it? Tell the folks what you were doing.
I was actually filming professional bowling yesterday in Anderson, Indiana.
What? I wonder what constitutes the difference between professional bowling and unprofessional bowling.
These guys are actually very, very good.
I'm kidding. Now, the one thing that I have noticed in today's bowling professional, it's a two-handed game all of a sudden. What happened to the guys that – do they even have the holes drilled in the daggone balls anymore? Or are they just throwing this rock down the lanes?
Most of the guys yesterday, they threw it traditionally. A lot of the guys yesterday were some of the older guys on the tour, like the final game yesterday was between Walter Ray Williams Jr., who's won like 50 titles. He's probably in his 60s, and the guy that won, he won his 11th title yesterday, Ron Moore, and he's probably in his 60s too. Both those guys threw traditionally, and but I think the number one bowler in the world right now, he throws two-handed. Like he's amazing. Like the last time I filmed professional bowling, he threw like 2 300s in one day. I've never seen anything like that.
Crazy. Kingpin, man. Kingpin. Little Woody Harrelson. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that movie. But I mean, this is the second time that I've actually filmed it, and like I'm not like super interested in bowling, but there's a lot of like different little nuances and stuff that I never knew about, because when I first did it, I thought you just bowled like I bowled. You just chucked it and hope for the best. But like there's strategy involved. Like they can see all the oil down the lane. Like there's different patterns between each lane. It's pretty wild. It's pretty interesting.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Yeah, I talked about last night. The Cubs and the Giants are going at it right now. Kyle Schwarber, he got blanked. I think he went 0 for 4. Alex Dickerson, on the other hand, continues his unbelievably hot streak. He is killing it. He went 2 for 5. He scored 2 runs. I don't know that he had a home run. I can't remember. I'm looking at the box score, but this dude has been freaking on fire since he got to San Francisco. I mean, it started in his first game. He had like 1,000 RBIs in his first game, and it has not slowed down at all. But they're in a series right now. I think that's out west. Last night, the Giants ended up winning 5-4 in 13 innings. So a game that went long, but some former Hoosiers, man, they're really having Sam Travis. Also, I mentioned for the Boston Red Sox, but none hotter than Alex Dickerson. I mean, you talk about catching fire. He has been hitting the crap out of the ball, and it continues. If you could have a half an all-star season, he's having a half an all-star season right now here on the backside of the baseball season. So congratulations to Mr. Alex Dickerson. As man, former Hoosiers are killing it. They certainly are. Look forward to that. But on the program today, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com, as we are getting closer and closer to football camp and football season. You know, the season opens up on August 31st from Lucas Oil Stadium against Ball State. So looking forward to that. Kevin Brockway is also on the program today. He's got a new article out regarding Michael Lewis and his move. Looking forward to that. Michael was on with us not too long ago talking about his move to UCLA. So awesome for Michael. Michael was back, of course, at the Peach Jam and saw a lot of pictures with him and some other former Hoosiers. So that was cool that those guys could hang out. Hey, make sure if you're in Southern Indiana, you need a dentist, got to check out our friends, Reynolds Family Dentistry. They've been serving Southern Indiana families for over 30 years. Both IU guys, that Doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds, take care of your family as they take care of us. Remember, take care of the Hoosiers who take care of you and provide the content to allow us to bring this to you each and every day. We got a lot coming up on the program. Like I said, Kevin Brockway, Matt Weaver. We're going to hear from Michael Lewis. Also, we're going to hear from Romeo Langford as he talks with the media in Boston. I was going to play that now, but I can see that it's not just Romeo, so I'm afraid just to bust it out. I guess I could try, but not sure where that's going to go. This is from the Celtics interviews. A little music to start out with. Not bad. I could talk over it.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Celtics Talk podcast. Kyle Draper, joined by Sherrod Blakely.
What's up, Kyle?
Feeling good, man. We just talked to the Celtics draft picks, Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, and Tremont Waters. And one thing, and you're going to hear from these guys coming up in just a little bit.
We're not waiting, Kyle.
One-on-one interviews with them coming up. But, Sherrod, we left these in.
Like a Bradley Bill type of.
Oh, that's Romeo, so I can't skip that.
That's Kyle Draper, joined by
a lot of interest in you. That,
trying to get good people.
Romeo's first up, man. Come on. You know, Kyle,
yeah,
I know Kyle Draper. He used to work at WHS in Louisville.
The kids there, but there kind of was a little bit of shade.
What's that?
Thrown, whether it was at Kyrie, whether it was at that team from last year.
He moved to Boston a while back, but he's been up there for a while and kicking it.
He liked about this group.
But I wish they'd hurry up and get to it because I'm tired of listening to him.
So
I thought it was all Romeo, so I didn't pre-cut it. So that's my bad on that.
19 squad as opposed to just Kyrie, although
I'm going to hold off on that. I'll get it locked down. And it's probably about another 2 seconds before we get to Romeo, but we'll do that after the next segment. We're going to hear from Michael Lewis coming up next. Also on the program, Matt Weaver, Kevin Brockway. We got a lot to get to. So stay tuned. We got plenty more coming up from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle back with more right after this.
I said, are you gonna be my girl?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
What I really wanna do is turn it into motion beauty that I can abuse. You know that I use my senses to.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you here at Indiana Sports Beat. And, man, we could not be happier than having a good friend of the show, Michael Lewis. Michael, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. The sun is shining bright out here in California, so I'm excited. And obviously there's a lot of change going on, but couldn't be happier to land at a place like UCLA.
Yeah, I was going to say anything new happening in your life, but wow. What a great turnaround, man. I mean, obviously things didn't work out for Miles at Nebraska, but couldn't be it's not a bad landing spot out in sunny California.
No, I think you could probably find some worse places. You know, this is pretty good, but it just it's obviously a great opportunity for me anytime to join a university and a program like UCLA that not only with the athletics but the outstanding academics that they have, and obviously everybody knows about the history of the basketball program and what they've been able to do on a national scale as far as national championships and all the great players. I mean, there's too many to even start naming, and just what the program means to those players, what the program represents, and to be a part of that, is very special.
Well, speaking of players, man, no player comes to mind quicker and faster than a certain tall guy that does TV out there.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting him, and I'll probably just sit and listen. When those guys are around, and I was out here yesterday. We had we're in a quarter system out here, so we're still able to work our guys out. Just a couple of guys coming through the gym yesterday, that are out of the NBA season right now, coming back to work out. It's a special place, and to have the access to those guys and to everything that they've been able to accomplish, and those resources, is going to be a really cool thing, for me to be a part of.
I was talking about Bill Walton obviously earlier, and he is one of the most famous names to come through there. I mean, very, very gregarious character, and the funny thing, I love listening to him when he does TV. He cracks me up, but he's so smart, and I think he kind of lulls people in, and all of a sudden, but he knows exactly what the heck's going on in those games, and man, he is really good at that.
Yeah, he's obviously an interesting character. I haven't listened to him much because normally I'm in bed when he's announcing games, and then that's going to be something to get used to. Like the last 2 days, I've woken up about 4:05 and 5. So I'm sure my body clock will eventually adjust. But there's a lot of great things that obviously UCLA is going to be able to opportunity-wise provide me with, and just it's just really cool when you're able to you walk. Just around the campus and in the facilities and the practice facility, and then obviously Poly Pavilion and the Athletics Hall of Fame. Like, you just realize that how many really impactful people have been a part of this campus.
Well, we talk about college basketball, obviously one of the most iconic programs. You come from an iconic program in Indiana, but UCLA and John Wooden, that started back in the late 60s, and they won all those national titles, 10 that he won. Of course, he's from Indiana. And then you had the previous coaching regime there, that's Coach Alford, from Indiana, and an IU connection. And then you have what a connection between Indiana and UCLA.
Yeah, it's kind of strange when you mention it the way that you just did, but I feel so lucky, to be able to play where I played, and have that experience and feel the way that I do about the experience that I had in Indiana, and then to be able to coach out here. When you talk about college basketball, I've been able to do some really, really fun things, but to be able to play at Indiana and now coach at UCLA, you're talking about two of the great programs, and so I know how lucky I am. I get it, I'm just excited to get to work.
And you get to coach under Mick Cronin, who left Cincinnati to go out there, had a great run there. But he's one of those up-and-comers, man. You knew that something big was coming for him as well. And UCLA, it worked out for him to be out there, and, of course, it turned out for you to be. How did that come about?
Well, I first met Mick when I was an assistant at Eastern Illinois, and he was the head coach at Murray State before he left and went to Cincinnati. It was the first time that I met him. We competed against each other, and then when I was at Butler, we played a Cincinnati team one year at Cincinnati. Just kind of being in the same geographical area there for so many years, we would always run across each other recruiting and things, and I think there's always just been a mutual respect there, and honestly, this kind of came out of the blue for me. When you get let go from Nebraska, and all of a sudden you wake up in the morning, you find yourself with nothing to do. You end up cleaning out your garage with your wife on Good Friday, and you get your phone buzzes, and you get a random text message from Mick. And he had just taken the job a week or two before, and just sent a text and, hey, just checking in on you, how are you doing? And I'd gotten a bunch of texts from different people. When you're in that situation, the coaching community is pretty close, and so I just responded with, like, hey, I'm doing well. I mean, not as well as you are, but, and it just kind of started, to Snowball, he just talked about, he was thinking about his staff and different things, and telling me how great it was out here. Not that I needed to be sold, but and then we had some conversations, and I was able to get out here and look around for a couple of days and be around him for a couple of days, and things worked out, and so couldn't be more excited to be a part of this, and to work for somebody like Mick. The success that he's had and how he goes about it. I think he's been in 9 consecutive NCAA tournaments, which I think he's one of 5 or 6 coaches in the country that has a streak like that, and so it's another opportunity to work under obviously a very good coach and learn and continue to try to grow into what I'd like to become.
And obviously UCLA storied passes have talked about, but they're trying to get back to that too, and to be a part of that, that unbelievable history and all that goes with that. That's got to be just an incredible thing, just in and of itself.
Well, you can feel it, just walking through campus and walking into the facilities. You can feel the tradition, and I think you also when you work here, and I'm sure it'll hit me more and more, but you feel a great deal of responsibility, to the program, and to do things the right way, and to win at a high level, and to build this back up and have the type of success that they're accustomed to, because you do. I understand, what it's like to be a former player at Indiana, so I have a small understanding of what the former players feel for this place, and so I feel some responsibility to have some success and to do it the right way, and to find the type of individuals that will represent this place the way that it is expected.
And UCLA, although they haven't had the success that they want to here of late, they're still had a ton of players that come through there that have gone on to the NBA, and just they continue to produce a lot of talent.
Yeah, the list of NBA players, obviously former, but even current, is amazing. And the impact that UCLA has out here in the West, it's huge. I mean, obviously they can recruit nationally, but when you're just talking about the West, you talk about UCLA, and right now it's Gonzaga and Arizona, and Washington's kind of getting it rolling. But there's no reason why we at UCLA shouldn't be able to put ourselves in position to recruit the best of the best, especially here on the West Coast, but nationally as well.
We not too long ago, you had Chris Wilkes that was out there, a kid from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Schilling was there coaching under Alford before he came and joined Archie Miller's staff. Is Indiana one of the places, obviously, you plan to recruit?
Well, I think we can recruit anywhere. I think when you're at a place like UCLA and have the tradition and the history and the resources and everything that this place represents, like I've said before, I think I don't ever think you limit yourself to anywhere you can recruit. So I think we're going to try to go recruit the best of the best and find guys that fit here academically and can represent UCLA for what it needs to be represented for, and that's the history of excellence.
You've got the Lakers and all that goes with that stuff out there, and the Showtime that they used to have. But it's a different environment, basketball and otherwise. Now, I've not spent any time around the UCLA program, obviously, but it seems like a much different environment than, say, the Midwest.
Well, I mean, I think you're going to find that whether you go to the East Coast, the Midwest, the South. I think each area kind of has its own little niche. And I'm sitting in my office looking out the window, and there was definitely not any palm trees in Lincoln, Nebraska. And so, it is different. But, there's NBA guys across the sidewalk in the men's gym here at UCLA working out all summer. Our guys have access to play pickup games with them, obviously, and that's not even touching upon just the UCLA pros and the alumni. There's a reason why everybody wants to get to LA and spend their free time, when they have the opportunity. It's a beautiful place. Campus is unreal. The facilities are great. So it's a unique opportunity for our guys to kind of be around guys that are doing what they eventually would like to do, and to see the level that they have to work out to get there. I've only been around our guys for one workout but was really impressed, not only with their abilities, but just who they are as people and how well spoken they are, and it just kind of, I think, represents a small piece of what UCLA stands for.
And you speak of the guys that you got. Obviously, the recruiting season, is recruiting already set for the season for UCLA, or do you guys have to get at it right now?
Well, we have one open scholarship, and I don't know if we're going to fill that or not. I think maybe if the right situation came to us, it's something we might explore. But I'm pretty fortunate in that regard that you're not coming in as a new staff and need to sign 6 or 7 new players. So the roster is pretty stable. We've got to tighten up a few screws here. With some accountability things, and they let Steve go early in the year. Anytime you have that type of change, things can get a little squirrely at times. But we've got good guys. We tighten up a few things and have a good summer and enter the fall the right way, and we'll be okay. But I've been very impressed with my interactions with the guys in our team so far.
You talked about doing things the right way, and that brings to mind all the stuff that's been going on, the FBI corruption trial and all that. How difficult has it been to be out there on the recruiting trail with all that stuff going on out there?
Well, I don't know how. I mean, it is what it is, and it's something that we've known that you've always kind of speculated things have been happening like that for a long time. So it doesn't really change anything. I think it, now that it's brought to light, it's disappointing. You care about the game that you represent in college basketball and what it can do for so many, and yet we're damaging our game for the top 1%, and giving our game a bad name, and we need to protect our game a little bit better. We need to do things the right way, and it starts with us as coaches. But I also think it's starting to trickle up to athletic directors and presidents that, when there's things going on at your institution, you need to protect that as well and set a good example. And until it gets cleaned up, it's not going to change. And I'm not. We'll see what the fallout is from the recent trials and different things. But we're at a real crossroads, and we've got. We've got a little black eye here, and it's unfortunate because college basketball as a whole, I think, does a lot of good for a lot of people.
And when you're out doing it the right way, like you guys do, and I know that you do, always been a stand-up person, is that do you see that people are now more gravitating and appreciating that more when you're going to these homes and you're talking to parents or you're talking to kids?
Well, I think you've always seen that. There's always been kind of a divide. And it's something that you can get a feel for very early on in the recruiting process. And, each experience is different. Each kid you recruit, the people around them are different. And we're talking about a very small percentage. This is not, but you are talking about some of the top guys that represent your product, in college basketball. So it's always something that you've been aware of. You can kind of navigate your way through it. And it's like anything else. In any industry that you're in, any job, you got choices every day. You got choices to do things the right way, or you can cut corners. And I've been very fortunate that I haven't been put in too many positions where, that stuff has come up. I've been able to recognize things pretty much on the front end and been able to steer clear of that stuff.
I know this is a stupid question, and things have to work out the way they work out, and they don't always do that. But if the opportunity came up and there was an interest from IU, would that ever be a possibility for you?
I mean, Jim, I've been at UCLA for 2 days. I'm excited to be here. Obviously,
and I didn't mean anything present.
Yeah. I think Indiana basketball, Jim, is always it's a huge part of who I am. It's a major part of why I'm at UCLA. It's provided me with so much. It means so much to me. I just take each opportunity that comes my way, and I evaluate it at that particular time, and just go from there. And it's worked out for me this far in my career, and I'm excited about the opportunity here at UCLA.
How was In-N-Out Burger?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. you hear about it, you read about it, and so I took a little walk down there last night to see what the big deal was, and it's not bad. It's not. I mean, it's a fast food burger and fries, but it's pretty good.
I'll be honest with you. I did the same thing when I was out there. I love coming to LA. It's one of my favorite places to visit. But I'm a Whataburger man. I love the fries and all that, but it was all right. But I'm a Whataburger guy. I've
lived in Texas. I've had the Whataburger. I've experienced it all. It's like anything. When you get to a level of good, it's just good. It's a fast food burger. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it last night, and by the line at the drive-through that I walked past, there was probably 20 cars in the drive-through. I think they're doing okay out here.
Yeah, that's the one thing that did amaze me. The place I was at that time, they were around the block for the drive-through. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this must be incredible.
I'm like any other guy. Like, I like me a good fast food cheeseburger, but I'm not sitting in a drive-through line for 20-25 minutes for a burger.
No, me either.
I'm not doing that.
Hey, my good friend Kevin Brockway from CNHI Papers joins us a lot, and he's the guy. He covered you when you were at the Sea Dragons in Florida?
Oh yeah, down in Fort Myers. Yeah. Tell Kevin I said hello. He was great. I spent a little time really right after I graduated Indiana. Even before graduation, I went down there. I was actually done with school, and this kind of like a little. At that time, it was a small summer league, kind of bridged the college season before the some of the NBA summer leagues were going, and I went down there and played for a couple months, and had a blast. Lived on the beach and hung out, and Kevin was there. So tell Kevin I said hello.
We'll do that. So you're back to the beach, man. When you were a Sea Dragon, can you imagine one day you'd be rubbing shoulders with Bill Walton on the UCLA campus?
You always have a dream picture of where you may end up, and you never really know the steps that you have to take to kind of get to where your dream is. And I feel very fortunate, obviously, to be sitting here at UCLA and the opportunity to coach here, like I've said, and I'm just going to approach this like I've done everything else. I'm going to try to do my job to the best of my abilities, and we'll see where it leads.
I know former Indiana basketball player Steve Risley lives out there, and he was disappointed when Steve Alford was let go because he got to go down to the UCLA games and whatnot. So I'm sure he's really ecstatic. If he hasn't reached out to you yet, he probably will be.
Well, he sent me something on Twitter, yesterday, and that's the one thing. My phone is, I haven't been able to get back to everybody, but he reached out on Twitter, said some nice things, and so I'm sure we'll hook up, and Steve he's still welcome in Poly. I'll take care of him.
Well, I'm gonna get Leary, and we're gonna come out one time and visit you. I can't wait.
Well, come on, man.
I got a quick Bill Walton story for you, so you can get prepared if you ever go to lunch with him. I was working as a youngster for CBS Sports during the NCAA tournament one year, and I was the runner. Just go do whatever they needed, and then go get lunch one day. And you got Quinn Buckner, former IU guys. Hey, give me a grilled chicken sandwich, this, that, and the other thing, and everybody's along the same lines. Of course, Bill Walton says, "Jim, can you find me a tofu burger?" Yada. And I'm like, I was in Louisville, and I'm like, man, I said, I'll try, but I'm in Louisville. And I ended up finding one for him, but he was a pretty amazing character.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get into all the things, but I am who I am, Jim. I'm a Southern Indiana guy, and I'm excited about this opportunity. And but I don't think I think there's a few things out here I'm not sure I'll be able to get to, but really looking forward to the experience and excited to be out here.
I meet you. I'm looking forward to having a beer with you on the veranda again.
Let's do it. It tastes pretty good there.
Yes, sir. I cannot be here for you. I'm so happy for you and your family. It's an amazing opportunity for you, and just couldn't have happened to a greater guy.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I really do.
Michael, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Good luck. I hope you guys kill it out there. We'll be following UCLA, and good luck in everything you do.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
That's going to wrap up this segment with Michael Lewis. Thanks you so much from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Boyle, Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Ooh, get us pumped up a little bit. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jake rocking it out there. Jake's got his hands on the wheel, keeping things on the track. Matt Weaver on the program today. Kevin Brockway also. He's got an interview with Michael Lewis that just came out. We played our interview with Michael. He was on not too long ago with us as he was heading out to sunny California. Speaking of which, Joker texted into the show, Michael Lewis recruiting resources. 1, beach. 2, sunny and warm year round. 3, bikinis. 4, babes in those bikinis. 5, oh, and did I mention dark tan women in bikinis? Yeah, Joker. But the thing I want to ask is how did Bikini slip to number 3, man? That's my first question. I look at that list. I'm like, it's not number 3 on that on my list. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. Recruiting to the West Coast can probably be difficult for guys from the Midwest, but it's like the Beach Boys song, man. Just play it. But also, text in from Bill. With the alignment of the current Big Ten, could Coach Allen and IU football team be facing the toughest scheduling of any time prior to his coaching reign? Tougher schedules than in years past. More top 10 teams each year. Well, I don't know there's going to be any more top 10 teams that he's faced because I know in the last 5 years, I think, I forget the exact timeline, but Indiana has faced as many top 5 teams as anybody in the country. The only team is actually to face as many, Alabama. So living in the Big Ten East, it allows for that rigorous scheduling. But this year's schedule is a little tougher, I think, because not only do you have the four-headed monster of the Big Ten East, you've got, home games against Ohio State and against Michigan. Well, nice. That's a nice consolation prize. But you also have to go to Michigan State. You have to go to Penn State. But on top of that, you've got to go to Lincoln, Nebraska. You've got to go to West Lafayette. Yeah, they've got to. It's this year's schedule is definitely more difficult than the past couple of years, but they're much more better situated, I think, right now than they have been in years past. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, in the next hour, look forward to talking about Indiana baseball and that hitting that 500 mark. We'll talk about some of the guys that have done that. And the one guy I failed to mention, Josh Fegley with the A's. He's the guy who hit the 500th home run. But what's amazing is you got Fegley hit the 500th home run. Then you have Dickerson, Sam Travis, and Kyle Schwarber all hitting in succession 501, 502, and 503. So the 500th through the 503rd home run for Indiana program history, all 4 different guys. That's pretty unusual. That shows you got a lot of talent in the show is what that shows. And those are the guys at the big league level. Think of all the guys that just went into the minors just this season. They had 10 guys drafted. It's going to start happening more and more. It's great for the program, great for Indiana. You can't complain about it. The next big thing on the stage for Indiana basketball, not a lot going on right now. You've got the NCAA, the stupid Rice Commission NCAA camps coming up, which is basically a gigantic waste of time. The way that it's set up. Half the guys there you've never heard of, the coaches have never heard of. Some of the coaches, I'm not sure all the coaches are going. Their players are so scattered because there's still so many things going on. Even though they can't go to the event in Las Vegas, they can stream it. So they can watch it. But then you've also got a USA basketball event going on in Colorado Springs. So tons of things that are still happening, and it makes it more difficult. But Indiana is minus an assistant coach right now. It's a dead period, so it's not like there's a rush. But when it takes longer, to me, there's always a reason why things take longer. If this was Indiana of 25 years ago, that hire probably would have been done in a week. You probably would have had a ton of guys banging at the door. I don't think that's the case right now. This is not your dad's Indiana or your granddad's Indiana. Hell, it may not even be your big brother's Indiana. But yeah, it's they can afford to take their time, but I think that they're taking their time because they don't have their guy yet. But we'll see how that turns out. They'll certainly have someone. I to be honest with you, I would have thought that it would have been wrapped up by this weekend. Not sure that's going to happen. Not sure that's going to. Did you say something? Oh, thought Jake was in there talking to me. But yeah. Hey, and something else I'm looking forward to talking a little bit more about not only today, but this week when Tom Brew comes on with us. Did you remember that gambling is going to be legal September 1st? Oh, man, I wish you were on the same leg with me because right then it would have been a great place to drop gambling at Bushwood from Caddyshack. You remember that? There's no gambling at Bushwood. Gambling in Indiana becomes legal September 1st, man. You can bet on football the day after Indiana plays Ball State. You can't bet on the Ball State game. But going forth, it's all fair game. It's here. It's kind of been forgotten about. You know, there's been not a lot of talk about it other than when it happened, which was a gigantic deal. Think about this, though. This is something that you've not ever been able to do in Indiana, at least not in our lifetimes. And it was a big deal when it happened, and it kind of came and just happened quickly. But then it just disappeared from well, we haven't talked about it, and I haven't seen a lot about it. But it's almost here. People are going to be able to bet on IU, Purdue, Notre Dame, college football in 5 weeks. It's crazy to me. I'm not sure where they are as far as setting up because I know there was a lot of talk of the mobile betting and the what do you call the bets on different side bets, the in-game betting.
Prop bets.
Prop bets. There we go. Thanks, Jake, to the rescue. Yeah, that's the biggest issue, and I don't know where they are on that, if they've got it worked out yet, if they're going to bust it out, say, hey, here we are, or it's going to come later. Not sure. But gambling's almost here, folks. There may not be gambling at Bushwood, but there will be gambling in Indiana come September 1st. Text into the show point. Coach Allen Jobs at winning games is harder than previous coaches at IU. Yes. Point, Coach Allen's job is winning games is harder than previous coaches at IU. Well, I don't know if it's harder because actually I disagree. Only because Coach Allen has done such an incredible job of building the program. He's been building it. He's not been doing quick fixes. You know, you see guys a lot of times will come in and they will just have a rash of JUCO transfers. They're trying to get people in. And Coach Allen went to great lengths to talk about that at media days. Man, that'd been a great time to pull that clip up. But he said that if you notice, we don't have a bunch of JUCOs. They've got like 2. And that's just because they're probably just great players that they found. So the reason for that is they're building from the ground up. They're building with freshmen is what he's been doing. But not only that, his last 2 classes have been the best that IU's ever had. And guess what? I bet next year's is even better. Samson James right now is the highest rated recruit in the history of the rating services for IU. That's going to be eclipsed next year. So, yeah, it's harder because they do have a tough schedule. I'd agree, but I think it's easier because of what he's put in place. Because they've got the pieces in place, they got the personnel in place. I think they can go out and compete. And you know, it's time, and it's time for them to. It's time for them to be able to go out and do that. You have to. It's just something you have to do. But how much money will be bet on the IU versus PU game? Great. That's a good question. Didn't even think about that, man. What a great question. Who bets the most? Which team gets the most? That's going to be interesting to see. Wow. Be actually betting on those games. I can actually, when the season starts, I can actually say, I'm betting you, and it won't be illegal. Hey, we got a lot more coming up on the program today. Matt Weaver from Peegs.com is joining us. We're getting close to football, man. Kickoff August 31st at Lucas Oil up in Indianapolis against Ball State. Not that far away, but even closer yet is fall camp. We'll talk to Matt Weaver here in a little while. Kevin Brockway from CNHI, the IU beat writer, has got an interview with Michael Lewis. You just heard our interview with Michael Lewis from not too long ago. But Kevin's going to join us as well today. We've got a lot more to talk about, the gambling issue, IU baseball, who's going to be the next hire for IU basketball. The Cubs and the Giants are going at it. A couple of IU baseball giants are killing it. Lots to talk about there. We're going to hear from Romeo Langford as well. IU makes a new hire as a graduate assistant. So we got tons of stuff to talk about here in the next hour. Stay tuned. We're back with more on Indiana Sports Beat. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle will be back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Graham. Keep up with the Hoosiers on the Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing
Well, come on along and welcome aboard. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride, wherever you're going, wherever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking us along. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. I'm Jim Coyle with you, as always. Coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. What a great weather week it's going to be. Get out, play some golf. Man, it's incredible out there. Lots to talk about today on the show. We're going to talk with Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. We're inching closer and closer to kick off the football season, August 31st. Up in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium, India takes on the Ball State Cardinals. Fall camp, not that far away, less than 10 days. August 2nd, they kick things off. We'll be at IU Football Media Day on the 1st. So, things are about to go down there. Kevin Brockway, IU beat writer from CNHI Papers, is going to join us as well. He's got a new article about Michael Lewis. You heard from Michael earlier on the show, interview we had with him, so look forward to talking to Kevin. Lots of things going on IU related. Lily King is king of the world championships as she wins another gold medal at the FINA World Championships in the 100-meter breaststroke. Beat out the Russian, Yuvakova. Another great battle. That was a heck of a battle. Fun to watch if you haven't seen that. Man, I had that pulled up on Twitter too. That was a great call, that race. Hopefully I can find that. But talked earlier, gambling is almost here. Can't believe it. It's kind of gotten a quiet little – we kind of forgot about it seems like. And it's going to be here September 1st. It's unbelievable. You can bet on whatever. College football, college basketball. A lot of issues we talked about when it first happened, the prop bets and whatnot. I don't know where they are with that, but nonetheless, man, we'll be making some bets this year, Jakester. We'll see how we do. We'll do a very moderate. Maybe I'll do that. We'll keep track of it and or get our friend Mr. Sheridan in from the betting lines, and we'll talk to him. James Blackman signs with the Italy Aquila Trento team, so he'll be playing he'll be eating some pasta. Coming up, Eric Gordon pulls out of the FIBA World Championships. He's just another in a long list of guys that have decided to do that. James Harden, his teammate, one of those, as they are wanting to prepare for next season instead. IU baseball hits a very unique mark. Let's see. They hit 500 home runs as the program. Alumnus hit 5. It was Josh Fegley from the A's that hit the 500th home run, but to show you how much talent Indiana has in the major leagues right now, numbers 501, 502, and 503 have all come from three different guys, Sam Travis, Alex Dickerson, and Kyle Schwarber. None hotter than Alex Dickerson. The Cubs and the Giants were going at it last night, as a matter of fact. There was a play that the ball was hit to Kyle Schwarber, and Alex Dickerson tried to score. Man, that was a heck of a play, close, but the throw was just off. Dickerson scores, and that wasn't the winning run, but the Giants would go on to win in 13 innings, 5-4. I think Kyle Schwarber was 0 for 4 on the night, but my man Alex Dickerson, hotter than a freaking firecracker. He was 2 for 5. He's been having an all-star type season since the all-star break. Hopefully that'll continue. But some of the excuse me, some of the numbers on this streak. You know, Ted Klaczewski played for the Reds back in the day. He had like 280 of the home runs. And go to IUBase.com. You can see the entire list. It's pretty cool just to go back. I think the first home run was hit in like 1913. And then some of the names on the list I saw. Pinky May. Man, if you got a list with a Pinky May on it, you're in good shape. It's awesome. But, you know, I talked about our friend of the show, Lily King, who wins another gold. Here's the sound
in these major finals
in that race.
Oh, what a matchup this is for gold and silver. Efimova and King. Efimova and King. The pink in front of the black. And now it's the black, the American King, who gets on top. King just getting clear of Efimova. And King is going to win the gold medal. Lily King gold. Yuli Efimova the silver. And the bronze goes to Carraro. Martina Carraro of Italy And Lily King smashes the water and said, look at that.
She does.
That was a great run. If you watch it, you should watch the clip. It's awesome. She gets clear over just at the end and once again defeats her Russian rival. No finger wag this time. They actually shook hands. It was kind of cool. But congratulations to Lily King. See what she can do in the upcoming Olympics in Tokyo, man. That's next. We'll have to, instead of replaying that interview soon, we'll have to get her back on. Look forward to that. But, man, we got a lot to get to today. Also, I talked about that IU baseball reaching 500. Then IU basketball, not a lot going on right now. There's not a lot going on with recruiting, waiting for kids to commit. There's the kind of like the dead period going on. You got stuff going on out at the NCAA mandated camps, the 4 camps that they're going to have around the country, 1,200 kids. But half of these kids, you've never heard of them. This is a conundrum for these coaches because they've got so many places they need to be because they're so scattered. This is scattered guys out like nothing before. USA Basketball is having an event in Colorado Springs. You still have the event going on in Las Vegas. Coaches can't go to it. They can't watch. They can't go to any of these things except for the NCAA camp. But they can stream the event in Las Vegas, which is what a lot of them will be doing. But speaking of that, Indiana is short an assistant coach right now since Mr. Schilling was let go. And curiosity on who that's going to be. There's no doubt that that's a recruiting position. But even with that being the case, I would sure think it would be better to have them in place sooner rather than later. Surely they're going to be doing some coaching. And if that's the case, I would think the team chemistry with that person would be smoother if they were here sooner, be around them longer. And because that's one thing I think this team greatly lacked last year was chemistry. So we'll see how that turns out. But I just think that the reason it's taking longer, for one, they have the luxury of a little time because of this lull that we're in. But at the same time, I think it's because they're not exactly getting the guys that they want or the type of guys they want. We'll see. I'm sure it'll happen soon. I thought it would have already happened, to be honest with you. I figured this weekend would have wrapped it up, but and it may yet. You never know. We'll find out. Romeo was up in Boston. Rare opportunity to hear from Romeo Langford is Cal Draper, a former news anchor or sports anchor down at WHS in Louisville. He moved to Boston several years ago now, but he does some work up there, and talking with the draft picks from the Boston Celtics was one of that. But we've got Romeo here for you. Let's hear what Romeo has to say.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo
Langford?
All right, here with Romeo Langford, the number 14 overall pick of the Celtics. Romeo, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you've only been in Boston a few hours. Tell me about your trip here so far. What's it been like, this whole adjustment for you?
I mean, I got in roughly like 2 a.m. last night, so haven't really been here that long, but the ride over to the gym looked pretty nice. It's my first time actually being in Boston, so actually so far so good, and I just can't wait to explore the city.
Have you been given a tour of the Auerbach Center yet? Have you even seen the facilities yet?
I mean, I saw a little bit, but this is my first time being here, so they said it's a new facility, and I've been to a couple other facilities, and this is probably the best one so far, just from the looks of it.
All right, so tell me about you. A lot of people, know your game, obviously, from Indiana, 6'6" player, but how would you describe your game? Is there anybody in the NBA you can compare yourself to in the style of play right now?
Well, I'll describe it, first of all, as like smooth. I let the game come to me, very versatile, not one-dimensional. But probably like a player right now I can see myself playing as is probably like a Bradley Beal type of guy. I feel like I have those capabilities of being his role and becoming a player like him.
Right, and so you can handle the ball and you can play off the ball,
yes, sir.
Say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was talking to your coach, high school coach, Jim Shannon, earlier, and one of the things he said is, Romeo is very smooth. It may not look like he's playing hard, but he's playing hard. Tell me about that internal desire to be the best. Where did that come from for you?
I feel like it's just how I was raised. Also, like my AAU coach, I remember one time he sat me down and asked me, like what's your goal with this basketball thing? I told him I want to be the best I ever do it. And ever since that day, I feel like my dad, my trainers, they've just been training me to do that. Like I go by like this one thing. I feel like if you like playing a sport or do anything, and if you're not playing to be the best, there's no point in playing at all. That's just my mindset.
You know,
Romeo Langford talking to Cal Draper up in Boston. We'll look forward to see how his season starts when he gets going. We haven't seen him. We didn't get to see him in the summer league. He was still rehabbing the thumb, and Celtics were rehabbing his shot. So I don't think they wanted to put him out there yet while they were working on that, to be honest with you. I think it was more about that than the thumb. They didn't want him to get bad reviews and have to face that uphill battle. But once the season starts, that'll all be washed away because it'll be happening. Hey, if you're a parent looking for an academy for your kids, there's nothing better than the JH1 Skills Academy. You know, who knows? They may turn out to be the next Jordan Hulls. Hint, hint. But check that out. You can find that. James Blackman, I said, signed with the Italian team, Aquila Trento. He'll be playing over there. Eric Gordon is dropping out of the FIBA World Championships. A lot of guys have been doing that. Anthony Davis of the Lakers, his Eric's teammate, James Harden, has dropped out. Several others have dropped out. They still got a ton of other guys. But, man, these guys are getting it's funny. They're all getting serious about winning the title. You got all these guys you can tell they're just really – you got Kawhi Leonard and down with the Clippers and you got Anthony Davis and LeBron and the Lakers, and you got the Houston faction and the 76ers and the Celtics trying to rebuild. So it's going to be interesting next year in the NBA to see all the changes that are going on. Don't forget gambling's coming up. I'm going to talk about that later in the week with Tom Brew. But it's just blowing my mind how that's – kind of quietly sneaking up on everybody. We've all kind of forgotten about it. It's just kind of delved into the forgotten deal coming up. But you know, not only is kickoff for college football season coming around here, so's betting on those games, man. It's something that's never happened. So, well, not legally, I should say. But on the program today, Matt Weaver. Talk to Matt a little bit about this from Pigs.com when he's on here with us. But also on Kevin Brockway later on. He's got an interview with Michael Lewis. Look forward to talking to him about that as well. So let's get to it. We'll be back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat, back with Matt Weaver right after this.
Come on, baby, don't you know that's how I really feel. Gonna love you, baby, yes I will. Don't you know that's how I really feel.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle, and we do have the Dream Weaver with us, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. Matthew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good, good. Recovered from our trip to Chicago.
Yeah. It was a fun day.
Yeah, man, it was hot. I can't believe how hot it was. Luckily, we were inside most of the time, but my God, it was like Hades on Earth up there last week. It was unbelievable hot, especially with the weather we're having now.
Yeah, last week was brutal. I think pretty much across the country, but last few days seems to be a lot better, at least around here. So that's nice. Hopefully it won't be too hot once fall camp starts in a few weeks.
No bombshells this year at the Big Ten Media Days, although we have the customary Michigan, Ohio State things. I thought it was funny that when Harbaugh was up on the main stage the first time, the big stage, the majority of his questions were coming from the Ohio State media.
Yeah, it's, that's, I guess it's not surprising, but, and I know he made some comments about Urban Meyer, I think the day before he was at the podium on a radio show or something like that, and about controversy following him around or something. But, obviously Harbaugh's been a winner, and they've had some success at Michigan, but when a guy's owns you like Urban Meyer's owned him, it might be better just to kind of keep your mouth shut and not say anything.
Yeah, I don't think that's his style, man. But a lot of great. This was Tom Allen's third trip as the head coach of Indiana, and probably without a doubt, he's in the best situation he's been in since he's been there as the head coach, as far as what he's got to look forward to this year. Even though he plays an unbelievable tough schedule, I think that they have good things coming.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's not only has there been growth in the program in the 3 years, I think, just him as a coach, I think he seems more comfortable as the head coach at Indiana, which is understandable. He was kind of thrust into that role, obviously, really unexpectedly, and not really had any kind of warning at all. So it's something he kind of had to learn on the fly, and that's tough to do. Even at a school at Indiana where there's obviously not a ton of national attention, but still it's a Big Ten school. I think he's really grown, and he seems a lot more comfortable just doing all these kind of head coaching things that are not really coaching. And then as far as, like you mentioned, the team and the roster, he's got his staff together. He's got, for the most part, his team. A lot of the roster. I mean, if you look at the roster of the scholarship players, I think there are 80 or 81 scholarship guys after some attrition. I think it's like 20, maybe like 23 or something like that, or juniors and seniors. So this is still a pretty young roster, but it's got a lot of experience because so many guys played last year as freshmen and redshirt freshmen. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic with this team. It's young, but still kind of experienced.
Yeah, the biggest issue with Indiana under Tom Allen, as he has said many times, has been depth or the lack thereof, and that's one of the things that he's really been working on to get rectified. That rule change last year, being able to play those freshmen in 4 games without burning a year, has been a godsend to a program like Indiana, because, like you said, they've got a ton of guys that got experience last year, but they're still young, and there's no better explanation of that than at the quarterback position. I mean, you've got Peyton Ramsey, a guy that's got a couple of years experience under his belt, but Peyton or Penix and Tuttle, both freshmen in their freshman year, and it's going to be a great battle in that room.
Yeah, absolutely, and even Penix didn't get a ton of snaps last year, but at least he got a taste of it. I mean, he played in 3 games or something like that, and one of them was obviously against the Penn State team that's is going to have as good athletes as he's going to see all year. It wasn't, like I said, a huge sample size, but still, it was better than nothing. He got a feel for the speed, and obviously, was doing some good things in that game and in some of the other games he played in. So, and then Tuttle, obviously, we're really highly regarded out of high school, and he's probably got a little bit more rust just because didn't really just practice at Utah for part of the season before leaving, and hasn't had any game action since he was in high school. But obviously, the physical abilities are there, and it's going to be an interesting position battle. I mean, it was the depth chart that they put out was Peyton Ramsey or Michael Penix or Jack Tuttle. So nothing says it's as clear as mud than that.
It certainly has. I mean, and Tom Allen has talked about the fact that Peyton Ramsey's the incumbent and that they have to beat him out. But you can kind of tell he knows that this is just that he has no idea who the quarterback's going to be, and understandably, because he hasn't really seen them perform together, healthy and ready to go in a situation like that we'll see in fall camp.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, I mean, on our board, we've had, some people have wondered, why would, because, there's obviously some people who are wanting a quarterback change and a different quarterback than last year. And why is Peyton Ramsey the starter? Well, he has to be the starter right now. I mean, he's the only guy that started any game, so it's understandable that he's the starter, but it's in pencil. I think that's what I would tell people. It's in pencil. This has not been, etched in stone. There's the fall camp is really going to be, and it was good to hear that Michael Penix is 100% cleared, which wasn't a surprise, but until you hear it, it was, you kind of wonder, was there any setbacks? Did he have anything that kind of, went sideways as far as his rehab? But he's 100% cleared, which means he'll be able to do everything that all the other quarterbacks can do come the first day of practice, and there won't be any limitations put on him or anything like that. So that was good to hear, because we didn't really get to see. We got to see him last fall and last spring, but not obviously this spring with the new offense and Kalen DeBoer and all that stuff. So be interesting to see where he's at. There'll be a little bit of rust, but he's such a talented kid. He works hard. He's just really, he's good football IQ. I can't imagine it'll take him too long to get up to speed and be right there, battling for that starting job.
Yeah, Coach Allen was on the show with us last week at the Big Ten Football Media Days, and when he first announced that Penix was healthy and ready to go. So it wasn't a shock, but like I said, looking forward to that, because there's not been a time where they've all been healthy and all together. So it's going to be interesting. But that's going to be I know that's going to be an unbelievably tough decision for Coach Allen, not just for picking the quarterback, but if it's not Peyton Ramsey, I know that he's going to feel angst about that, because I'm sure there's loyalty there for him being there the last couple of years and playing through some situations that were probably not optimal. But he, at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for the program, and that's what they get paid to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know Peyton Ramsey's obviously a popular guy in the locker room, but listen, these guys want to win, maybe that can happen with Peyton Ramsey. So far, the last couple of years, obviously it hasn't, but at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses. I mean, this is Power Five, high level Big Ten football, and so like you said, from a personal standpoint, it could be tough. But I'm sure Coach DeBoer, Coach Allen they'll do what's best for the team, and then if it's Peyton Ramsey, it'll be him. If it's Michael Penix, it'll be him, or if it's Jack Tuttle, that's who they'll go with. And the other guys will have to, you would expect them to be team players, which I wouldn't have any doubt that they would be, and everybody will rally around that guy and go out there and try to win some football games. But yeah, I think it personally would be tough if it's not Peyton Ramsey. But like you said, you got to do what's best for the program and for the team, and what you think will give you the best chance to get to the 6-7+ wins that you need to get back to a bowl game.
There's a lot of optimism by a lot of people for heading into the season with good reason because of all the things that are going on. I think this offense, I don't even know how good it can be. You've got a new offensive coordinator and all these new parts that we've talked about. But for Hoosier fans to give them some sense of a measurement here, I was somewhat surprised that almost of all the preseason picks, and preseason picks are, let's face it, they're not worth the paper they're written on. But Indiana's been picked 5th by virtually everybody I've seen in the Big Ten East. Obviously, not only the toughest in the league, but it's one of the toughest in the country. And you look at a Purdue team who, all that talk about that vaunted offense and all that, they're picked to finish 6th in the West. So it should give some Hoosier fans a little confidence of the program that they have this year.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting, that's not a surprise to me that Indiana's 5th. I mean, I think most years, probably every year, unless they really go on a roll where they start beating some of these teams, they're always going to be probably picked behind those 4 schools that we talk about, and maybe going forward, who knows with the other 2. But Purdue dropping to 6, I guess, was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, I thought they would be in that maybe 4 to 5 range, but 6 I thought was it is a little bit surprising, but they do have great skill players. There's no doubt about starting with Rondell Moore, and they got I apologize, can't remember his name, but really great tight end and some freshman wide receivers they brought in. But their O-line has to be rebuilt, and Jeff Brom and that staff is great at designing plays and calling plays and all that. But if you can't block it, you can't run it. So and if they can block it, they'll be pretty good offensively. It's going to be interesting. I think they may, at least early on, they're going to have to really probably lean on their defense. They got one of the best D tackles in the country, Lorenzo Neal, and Marcus Bailey at linebacker. So, they're going to have to kind of lean on that defense, which is probably a bit unusual for Jeff Brom. But if he gets the offense around, they'll probably still be there at the end and have a pretty good season.
Indiana's season starts off with a couple of non-conference games. Of course, they kick off things at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis on August 31st against Ball State, and then they have another non-conference game. But then they start Big Ten play a little earlier. Ohio State comes to visit a little sooner than normal. Normally, they get the 3 games out of the way. Any effect on how the season goes, you think, with that moving up and playing not only a conference game that soon, but one of the conference games?
No, I mean, to me, I think if I, was it 2 years ago, the games were, I think they started with obviously Ohio State, but then they were kind of stacked right one after another. To me, I think it's better to have them spread out a little bit, when you're facing those teams. And, listen, when a team is more talented than you and deeper than you, it can kind of wear you out. And if you have to play teams, if you have to go, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, maybe not consecutive weeks, but maybe you play those 4 in a 6-week span or something like that. It's really that's where it can really take its toll. That's why depth, that Coach Allen has been harping on, depth is so important. And they've obviously done a much better job of getting there. So, I with a new staff, a new quarterback, the changes at Ohio State, I would prefer to play them earlier if I was Indiana, because you would think if the staff is as good as everybody thinks it is, and Ryan Day is as good as everybody thinks he's going to be, they'll probably be rocking and rolling halfway to 2/3 of the way through the season. So I think I would rather catch them earlier in the year than later. But the game, you have to play them all. They're all those Big Ten East games. For the most part, are going to be tough. It's a murderer's row schedule. So I think the schedule sets up pretty well. They got 2 bye weeks, which is unusual because somehow the way the calendar is, it's a longer year. And IU's bye weeks fall, they're pretty evenly spaced out, which is really nice. So to me, the schedule from that point of view and kind of how it sets up is pretty favorable. Obviously, it's a tough schedule, but I think, I don't think you could have drawn it up much better if you're going to do it yourself as far as how you'd lay it out.
Something that I think a lot of us have not completely forgotten about, but it's just kind of snuck up on us. Starting September 1st, people can bet on college football and everything else, but the betting is starting, and it's slowly just kind of sneaking up on people, I think. But it's going to be here soon.
Well, people can bet legally starting September 1st.
Yeah,
I think there's already betting going on, but yeah, you're right. It's I saw a tweet. I think it was from the Indianapolis Star or something about they were listing what you can bet on and where you can go in the Indianapolis area to place those bets. I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be a mobile app, but it's not going to be out for. I don't think it's going to be out for a few more months. I could be wrong on that. I haven't paid a ton of attention to it, but yeah, it's it's always kind of been there. And now it's kind of being brought to the forefront with obviously sports gambling being made legal in different states. And, it seems like it's just going to keep coming and coming. So, I think it's probably what's going to happen is things are going to have to change as far as how you do the injury reports. I know that's already been talked about because obviously in the NFL, it's real clear and concise. You have to list guys. If you don't, you can get in trouble for it. In the NCAA, they play the game. I mean, they kind of hide it, and because they don't have to, and I wouldn't either. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't say who was hurt or who was healthy or anything. I wouldn't tell anybody. But I think going forward, obviously this becomes legalized nationwide, you're probably going to see some kind of a change where schools have to be a little bit more forthcoming with their injury reports and all that. That to me, that's where it'll probably change the most. And as far as everything else, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. People start rooting for Indiana to give up a touchdown late so they can get the spread or the over under. I don't know, even if they're winning or losing. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that's something Jim Harbaugh is looking forward to. I think he'd already kind of alluded to. He's one of those guys that definitely plays any and every game he can possibly play. Yeah, it's weird, man. You look at late in October or November or whenever possibly, you could be sitting in Memorial Stadium making a bet while you're drinking a beer legally, all legally. That's how fast things are changing. It's crazy.
Hell, welcome to the 21st century.
I'm telling you, man, it's amazing though. I mean, most people would have never, a year ago, they probably thought, man, it's going to be forever before they'll ever have beer in Indiana. Not only are you going to have beer, you can sit there and have a beer and make your bets probably this fall sometime. It's mind boggling.
I would advise of making your bets before you start partaking in the adult beverages, but that's just me.
Good point. Great point, man. I know we're getting close to kickoff and fall camp starts on the 2nd. What do you got? What are you working on right now that the people need to see?
Well, I just put a story out this morning. Actually, the dead period ends today. So starting tomorrow until the end of the month. So basically there's literally a 7-day window. Schools can have visitors. Now coaches can't go off campus to see guys, and it's not official visits because the official visits can't start back up again until after, I think it's September 1st of a guy's senior year. But there's some visitors coming, and I got those in the story. Got some linemen, a guy from Virginia, and big lineman from Michigan, and another one from Missouri, and then receiver from down at South Florida, from the same high school as Noah Pierre, DN from Missouri, and kind of a DN tight end from down in Georgia. So I got some good guys coming in. Another thing that's coming up this weekend on Saturday, Jonathan Dennis, the 4-star lineman from down in South Dade High School in South Florida, will be making his decision. Indiana's right there in the mix. Miami's in there, Louisville. Those seem to be the main schools. Oregon's kind of in there, but more on the periphery. But it'd be a huge pickup. He's an interior lineman, but it'd be a heck of a pickup for Indiana, big time at a position where obviously it's really tough to get top-notch players. So they've done a good job. They got some of those South Florida kids working behind the scenes on him. So we'll see what happens, and then I'll start doing some probably position previews here in the next few days, about a week out before fall camp gets going.
He is Matt the Dream Weaver from Pigs.com. He's got all the information you need right there. You can find it. Matt, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
You bet. Matt Weaver from Pigs.com with all you need to know about Indiana football. Hey, we've got IU beat writer Kevin Brockway coming up next. He's got an interview with Michael Lewis coming out. We'll talk about that and plenty more right here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is A.J. Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Speed with Jim Coyle with you as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping us on the track. Joined now by our good buddy Kevin Brockway, IU beat writer from CNHI Papers. Kevin, how are you?
Good morning.
How are things in South Florida?
Yeah, things are nice. This is a nice little break, so I'm about to head out to the pool, get a little swimming in, just a little relaxing. Went out to the flew in last night, went out to the beach a little bit, had a mahi sandwich, which is always great. Always great. The seafood down here is always superb. And yeah, a little R&R. I'm going to see my brother for his 50th birthday. You know, he lives down here, and my mom's down here. So nice little family get together before we get hot and heavy into football camp starting next week.
Nobody wants to hear about your good time right now. Just kidding, man. Trust me, we're all jealous. Awesome, and but you couldn't have picked the worst time to leave as far as the weather in Bloomington. It is unbelievable. It's like fall weather right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, it was funny. When I woke up for the airport yesterday, it was 62 degrees. So I felt it start to cool, and yeah, it would have been nice to open the doors and not have to worry about the air conditioning for a week. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll hold when I get back. It'll be a little more moderate. But certainly, yeah, good times with this crisp air. I think it gets people excited maybe for the football season to come, and then basketball after that.
Yeah, speaking of basketball, Tim texts in that he saw there was a picture yesterday of the team out on a boat out on Lake Monroe here. They're on a boat. Yeah, they look like they're out there having fun. We see all the programs do that stuff now. It kind of cracks me up. They all got to put the pictures out here. Here's what we're doing, and we're working out, or we're out on a boat. But yeah, the IU team was on the boat on Lake Monroe yesterday, bonding. It was funny. There was one guy that people didn't know who he was. Like, who's this guy? I think it was a recent addition, just a walk-on from Edgewood. But you got that going on. But you had recently an article out yesterday with Michael Lewis, a great friend of ours on the show, and we replayed his interview with us earlier today. But Michael having a good time out in Southern California right now, huh?
Yeah, he's settling in. When I talked to him last week, he was just kind of getting the last of the boxes unpacked. He's going to be in Calabasas, and his wife and his two daughters are there. And Mike's an interesting guy. When I was working in Florida, in Naples, Florida, he played for the USBL for the Sea Dragons. So I actually covered him for a couple of years in 2000 and 2001, and that was right at the tail end of the Knight situation. Obviously, him leaving Indiana, and he's stuck by Coach Knight, obviously, and his comments about how Coach Knight remains really a strong influence in his coaching career, just in terms of teaching him the importance of just doing his job and being focused and worrying about the task at hand and worrying about the moment. And he's taken that from him. But Mike's carved out a really nice, I think, coaching career. If you take a look at some of the people he's worked under too, Brad Stevens, Chris Holtman, Tim Miles. And now he's going to get a chance to work under Mick Cronin, who's an excellent coach. He's really learning and absorbing, and I think when the time is right, he'll be ready to really take on a head coaching job somewhere and do a good job. Maybe not a Power 5 conference right away, but somewhere where he can kind of build his own resume as a head coach.
Yeah, he's really working on the coaching aspect of it. Of course, there's the other side of that, the recruiting side, which, speaking of the recruiting side, that's something Indiana's looking at. But Michael Lewis is definitely making his bones, man. You talk about building a nice resume. He's done that. And not only that, he's now at one of the major programs in college basketball that can only help and add to that. It's not long that his name is really going to start popping up as one of those next head coaches.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that he's still second on the IU all-time leaderboard in assists and was actually the record holder until Yogi Ferrell. So that's kind of interesting. That tells you what kind of a player and a floor general he was. And he's taken that over the coaching side. He's got an excellent reputation in terms of developing guards, and he's been a very good recruiter as well. So a lot to like about what Mike Lewis is doing, and I think that it bodes well. A kid from Jasper who's really made it in the coaching ranks, and hopefully he'll get a chance to lead his own program someday.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that carries over. He's the former, like you said, former record holder in assists at Indiana, and that means something. He's a record holder. It was at a top program. And he is all about competition and playing, and you can just see, and I look forward to him getting that opportunity sooner rather than later.
Yeah, really tough-minded player, too, back in the day. I even remember back in his days with the Sea Dragons. Not a lot of people took the USBL seriously, but he did. I mean, he was competitive. He was all about winning back then, even at the minor league level. He would get pretty frustrated after losses. So a lot to like about Mike, and I'm wishing him well. I'm hoping that he'll do good things. It continued in his college career.
We'll look forward to that. We just got back from Big Ten Football Media Days. That's in the books now. We're not that far away, man. Training camp opens up on August 2nd. IU Football Media Days on the 1st. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, and I think a lot of good articles that came out of there. I certainly, wrote about, Coach Allen's proclamation of hopefully, turning that corner and not just making a bowl, but winning a bowl. And it's amazing to think that they haven't won a bowl since 1991. And that's back when you and I were roaming the campuses of our respective schools, which is crazy to believe, back when stonewashed jeans were still in fashion, right? But they haven't won a bowl game since then. And that would be a nice feather in Tom Allen's cap. And when you look at the losses last year and the number of one-score losses, which is 3, that's something that could be flipped maybe with, another good recruiting class, a little more depth, a little more, quality play from the quarterback position. You might be able to, pick up a few more wins and get to a bowl game.
It's bad enough you said stonewashed jeans from that era, but really putting a date on it. But at least I thought you were going to say Stonewall Jackson, so it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yeah,
no question.
It's unbelievable that even though it's Indiana's bowl success has not been there, that it's been that long. Because there was a period where, of course, Mallory era, they were going to bowls, I think 6 out of 8 years. I mean, he had it going, and this is a different time. It's the whole deal is set up. But one of the things that came up while we were at Big Ten Media Days is the fact that the Big Ten is the only team or only conference that plays 9 conference games, while the SEC and all these other guys are only playing 8. And that, with a 12-game schedule, allows these teams to schedule 4 non-conference games, would put you 2/3 of the way to bowl eligibility. That's an advantage that teams like Indiana doesn't have, on top of the fact they play in the toughest division in college football.
Yeah, and your video from James Franklin, I think spelled that out in terms of some of the things that the league has to re-examine, and one of them is the 8 to 9 conference games as well as the division split. But James Franklin was pretty strong on the fact that playing 9 conference games, he feels like works for the Big Ten's disadvantage. Now, James Franklin came from the SEC, he came from Vanderbilt, where they played 8 conference games, and they built in that one FBS, that one game that a lot of people played that was essentially a bye week before the rivalry games in the 3rd week in November that all these SEC teams seem to play, or most of them. So he knows, he sees it. So for the Big Ten, yeah, it's definitely a tougher road, but hopefully a more rewarding road for Tom Allen. I think there's a fine balance when you're talking about sports in terms of playing good competition and rest. And I think that to me, I think the best way to do it is to throw yourself in the fire and play good competition early, because A, you're going to be at your healthiest early in the season. And B, if you suffer a loss in September, it's not as damaging in BC, college football playoff polls, things like that, as opposed to later in the season.
Yeah, not only but one of the things that James Franklin said, along with Jeff Brom from Purdue, they both said the same thing, that they don't care if it's 8 or 9 or 10. But it needs to be the same for everybody. And that's the truth, because the difference between not having to play that conference game and being able to schedule a non-conference game, again, bam, it makes all the difference in how many teams are able to get into bowl games. But not that, as far as the Big Ten goes, is that hurting them on a national level as far as getting into the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, I think no question. I think it makes it just anytime you make it a more difficult road. And, the Big Ten is a physical conference. Certainly, the SEC is a physical conference as well. The ACC is getting a little more physical. But I think in those leagues, when you play that extra conference games, you take a pounding. There's no doubt about it. And that affects, the healthier team going forward. You could easily lose a key player playing in the 9th conference game that you wouldn't lose playing in just 8 conference games. I mean, the risk is greater. And I think that's the big factor to me is, the SEC likes to crow about their strength of schedule, but, or the fact that they have a lot of strong teams, and they do, but in only playing 8 conference games as opposed to playing 9 conference games, I still think the risk of injury for players is greater in the Big Ten when you play that kind of mashing schedule for 9 conference games as opposed to 8 conference games.
Someone, Twitter responder, something I put out about that, said that he thinks the new commissioner, Kevin Warren, who takes effect on January 1st, that once he gets in there, he might change that back to 8 games. That way it does not make the outgoing commissioner look like he made a mistake in doing it, and that he doesn't have to do it by kind of admitting that it was a mistake. I don't know, man. That's going to be a tough thing because these schedules are set. And do they go backwards, or do they wait for the rest of the college football to catch up?
Well, I think too, if you go backwards, I do think there would be enough time to adjust because I think there are plenty of teams out there that are looking for a payday from smaller conferences. They'd love the chance to go to a Big Ten school and get a payout. I guess it depends on the school. Maybe Northwestern or a school like Indiana couldn't give you as much of a guaranteed payout as Ohio State or Michigan that's drawing 100,000 fans, but they're still going to get some money and they're still going to cash in. I think the schedules could be adjusted pretty easily in that regard. And, maybe it would be a wise move, I think, to go back down from 9 to 8. And I mean, Jim Delaney in his farewell address basically said that he did it, basically to try to create better games for fans and better games for television. It's worked to an extent, but I think that, maybe you have to look at the greater picture of, getting your teams in the postseason as well.
Yeah, because even the juggernauts like LSU and Alabama, they're playing Troy and Jackson State and all these other guys. So they're not – and then they use the excuse, well, we play in the SEC. I don't care. I mean, what's it like for Indiana playing in the Big Ten East or Maryland or whomever? But they play in the Big Ten East. That alone is enough of a juggernaut. So playing in the SEC doesn't matter to me. But my point is they all schedule these cupcakes, these wins basically. And if you're in Indiana, especially in Indiana, a team that needs a little help, being able to schedule 4 non-conference games almost puts them in a bowl every year because they average 2 conference wins a season. So that puts them at the 6th. Of course, you want more than that. You don't want to settle for mediocrity, but you've got to get to a point first of consistency of getting in before you can move forward.
I think the big issue, too, and Jim Delaney somewhat alluded to this in his farewell address, is that the strength of schedule component in the college football playoff is not being taken as strong into account as it should be. I think if it was, you would see some of these SEC teams and these teams in other conference not schedule the FBS or FCS opponents, rather, like the, 1AA opponents that they do. That should be a major penalty in my regard. Like, you should be playing FBS opponents across the board, and that should really count heavily against your strength of schedule, I believe. And it hasn't, it hasn't enough, in my opinion. Instead, they just look at the wins and the losses. And I don't think that's right. I don't think you should be playing those kind of cupcake games. You should be playing at least FBS level competition in all 12 of your games. And that hasn't been looked at strong enough. And that's really hurt the Big Ten, with playing the 9 conference games as well.
Yeah, because I can't, has it been changed back that you're not, before it was that FBS or football bowls, no, FCS, FBS teams didn't count. It was counting against them or didn't count towards your bowl eligibility. I think is it back to where it does count? And then that's also one of the things is, do you allow these Power 5 teams these Power Conference teams to play? They shouldn't be playing an FBS team, in my opinion. They should be playing.
I'll tell you this: Florida played 2 FCS teams last year, and they made the Peach Bowl, which I think is ridiculous. There's no way, and they counted those 2 wins. There's no way. They played Idaho, and then I think they played Charleston Southern in the beginning of the year, and they got those 2 wins. So now they beat Michigan in the Peach Bowl, but Michigan obviously sat out all those guys, defensive guys that went to the NFL draft too.
Yeah, and not to blow Purdue's horn, but their schedule this upcoming season, out of their 12 games, 11 of those games are from Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, and they're playing Nevada, a team that won their bowl game in Reno in the 4,000-foot altitude. As a matter of fact, they're going to fly out a few days early for that game. So their schedule is no joke. They are definitely pushing the envelope, playing a tough schedule, which is credit to Jeff Brom and credit to them.
Well, brother, I hope you have a good time on vacation in sunny Florida. Stay out of the water, stay away from the sharks and all that good stuff. Put on your sunscreen and your flippy floppies and have fun.
All right, thanks. Looking forward to getting back next week.
You bet. Kevin Brockway, IU beat writer from CNHI. We appreciate you, man. You can check out his latest article on Michael Lewis there at CNHI as well. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for us today. We appreciate you joining us. Matt Weaver was with us earlier. We heard our reboot interview with Michael Lewis earlier in the day as well. We'll be back tomorrow with plenty more. Scott Agnes, amongst others, will be with us. We'll see what we can get going for you. But hope you have a great day. For Jake, I'm Jim Coyle from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, and I will see you on the radio.